This is Tom Jackson, and you're watching Bronco Planet.
Howdy there, Bronco Planet fans. We got Shad and Chris here. Danny is in recovery right now after that brutal loss on Monday night. But hey, it's been a couple days. Chris, we haven't really heard your thoughts. After digesting this a few days, what's on your mind about the Bronco team?
You know, we were afraid that game was coming. Atlanta, a good NFC team at home on Monday night. I'm not going to lie to you, that's about what I thought was going to happen in terms of the final score, not in terms of the first quarter, which took about 3 hours to play, by the way, and no more penalties on 93 red. Some of us in the know call that team Atlanta. So, anywho, you know, I guess if Manning's going to have that game, let's get it out of the way now. I don't know a ton of people, honestly, Shad, that had that marked as a without doubt win. And I think there were some good takeaways from it. You know, McGahee continues to do exactly what they need him to do. And if there's one guy on this team that can have a bad game and we still have faith in, it's Peyton Manning. Yeah, for sure. I mean, all hope is not lost, folks. And it took all of about 10 minutes to get the first Tebow jab in there from some of the fans out there with his big contribution of 22 yards last week and 11 the week before. But, yeah, I mean, right now, Peyton Manning, even after a disgusting game like that, still much higher than Drew Brees right now from a quarterback rating standpoint. It's no time to panic. Well, the amazing thing was you go into halftime, even at the end of the first quarter, and they, you know, to be down 10-0, you had to feel like you were in pretty good shape. And I don't think there's anyone out there who doesn't think if they get the ball back, they win the game. Yeah, no. You know, everyone today on the radio, on ESPN, guys at work you're talking to, if they were, and that's a big ask of the defense to hold them again on a 3-and-out. They'd had 2 consecutive 3-and-outs. If they get one more, I don't think there's anyone around who doesn't think Manning goes straight down the field and wins the game.
No, I agree. And I was just hoping, and then that Turner run, which then he kept running right to the bar afterwards, I guess, and followed DJ Williams' great example. But hey, you know what? The great game. I really liked Peyton Manning's composure, the way he held it together. Sure. He didn't look frazzled. Yeah, sure, he was, I can't believe I'm doing that. But he just seemed like, hey, I can get over this and unemotional and like, hey, let's go do this thing.
It's great to be in a situation where there's still no question. You know, if you're Arizona, for example, and Kevin Cobb has 3 picks, suddenly half the town is divided. You want Skelton, you want somebody else. It's great to be in a situation. No one's calling for Osweiler. no one's trying to trade back for Tebow. Guy had a bad game. Yep. You know what? Guy had a bad game. I've had bad days at work. You're having a bad hair day, sure. More or less. You know what? We move on. We move on. That's the best thing we take out of the Atlanta game is week 3.
All right, speaking about moving on, we have done a little homework, Chris, and I know that's unusual around here. But things look tough this week. We were honest, right? We knew Atlanta would be a tough game. We know Houston's going to be an extremely tough game. Chris, I'm going to run some of these stats by you, and then you let me know how you feel about this week's game. All right, offense. Houston currently ranked number 10 in the NFL. The Broncos slipping to 20. Defense, Houston, number 1 defense in the NFL. Denver, 8. Hey, Del Rio promised a top 10 defense. We got that so far. Third down conversion. Now, this is third down conversion rate of the team that you're playing, right? So Houston's leading the league again with averaging 10% conversion rate on third down, while the Broncos, 30 out of 32 with a 50%.
That number's a little skewed because Pittsburgh was so good on third downs. Monday night, Atlanta, 5 of 13. That's closer to the league average. If Denver keeps going on that track, they're going to move up.
Move up. All right. Well, I agree with you. All right. Let's see, leading receiver. Right now, Andre Johnson, who we all know is a tank, 5th in the NFL, averaging 119 yards per game. Demaryius Thomas, 8th in the NFL. Wishing you'd picked him up on your fantasy team, aren't you?
Wishing we played Pittsburgh every week.
Yeah, that would be good. All right. He's currently ranked 110 yards per game. Leading rusher, Foster, 7, McGahee, 9th. So yet again, a Houston win. And then the quarterback rating, Matt sitting there at 13, and Peyton Manning goes from top 5 to 18 after that thing. Tied on sacks, but there is good news, Bronco fans. Britton Colquitt is got a higher net average, and yes, he plays in Denver.
Well, I don't think we have to tell anyone. It's not new to anyone out there that follows the NFL that really the punting game is the key.
Yeah, I think so, and I did my homework. So after doing such a great job there, Chris, What do you think? Can the Broncos, despite what all those numbers said, can the Broncos pull this thing off?
Let's just be clear about one thing. We're looking at the stats. We're looking at the numbers. Ultimately, the great thing about it is, at the end of the day, Sunday, we still live in Denver. They still live in Houston. That being said, they can win this game. They can win this game if McGahee continues to do what he's going to do. Manning is not going to throw 3 picks on 8 attempts. That's never going to happen again. Probably in the history of the world, that is never going to happen again. And to see the way he played over the last 3 quarters, yeah, this is a winnable game. The concern is going to be, can they get off the field on 3rd down? I assume Champ matches up with Andre Johnson, and that's a good matchup. That's a good matchup for Denver.
I'm even okay with Tracy Porter on Andre Johnson.
What comes down to, I think, is between McGahee and Arian Foster.
And I'm a little, I've got to go with McGahee. I love those Broncos, but Foster is on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping for at least a touchdown and maybe 20 yards. Yeah, 20 yards rushing. But nonetheless, you know what time it is, don't you, Chris? Prize monkey time!
Prize monkey, that monkey's funky.
Well, tell us a little bit, Chris, on what the prize monkey is giving away today. You're not going to believe this, folks. Pretty special.
Look, I don't know where this guy's pulling it from, but we've got an NFL game day program, so a program from Mile High Stadium, looking at the vintage, signed by the man on the cover, Tom Jackson.
Tom Jackson, Mr. NFL Primetime.
Just one of the great Broncos, and really, Shad, one of the most underrated outside linebackers that has ever played in this game. To most of the younger kids at home, you know him as the guy that sits next to Berman.
Yep.
He was one of the greatest Broncos that's ever played. It's not even fake. It's not even one that I signed in the back before we came on the show.
I know. We're really changing things around here.
That's a keeper.
I got to tell you, we opened our show today with Tom Jackson intro. We covered it with the alumni golf tournament. What a great guy. Signed autographs. Spent a lot of time with the kids. One of my favorite Broncos of all time, and always had the coolest football cards. Played with them growing up, left and right. Tom Jackson, man. So you cannot afford to miss it. It's pretty simple. All you really got to do is go into our website, www.broncoplanet.com. Go to the old school section and comment on one of the articles. Man. How hard is that to get this kind of memorabilia? The old school Bronco look, Tom Jackson.
That's awesome. That's an awesome piece.
All right. We played a little homage there to Tom Jackson. Now we're moving along. Actually, let's take a moment for a minute, talk about an NFL great loss today, and Steve Sabol at 69 years old. Yeah, lost his battle with brain cancer earlier today. And for Shad and I, you and I are basically that same generation, and really the founder and the guy who really got the whole NFL production, NFL films up and running. And a lot of local guys may know him. Was a graduate of Colorado College down in the Springs, but just a phenomenal guy. And we all, you and I were laughing about it just a couple minutes ago. Those guys that are our generation, we all have that same thing in mind. Lawrence Taylor coming around the edge. We're going to get around like a pack of crazy dogs out there. That's all. That was Steve Sabol created reality television. Before, it's not Survivor 10 years ago. It was Steve Sabol miking these guys up, letting us, the average Joe fan, seeing really what goes on down there on the field. Just more creative, more insightful, done more good for this game than virtually anyone that has really ever been involved with the NFL. Yeah, everything I like, this guy was involved in. Film, sports, making life exciting. I mean, what a great role model, what a great influence in the NFL. So Sabol family, thoughts and prayers with you. What a great difference he made. And moving along, we're wrapping up our show here, Chris. Tough road ahead, but we can do this thing, can't we? It's the kind of game that we need to figure out what we're made of. You know what? Is this the game where we come out and lay an egg and figure out that Houston is that many steps ahead of us, or are we competitive and we come out with the win? And we think that that's the kind of team that Denver is this year. And I think someone's going to need to calm down John Fox this week. Man, he had lost his mind to the point that he can't even count the number of players out there. But I really think, lost his cool, and rightfully so. The refs were terrible. But, I mean, at some point as the leader of that team, you got to pull it together. And Atlanta seemed to be in pretty good control. Sure, their quarterback hadn't thrown 3 interceptions. Well, and there's got to be someone on the sideline who's in charge of taking his chew out before he yells at someone, because someone is really going to get. I don't know how you classify that on the IR
car or something. But maybe that's workman's comp for a referee.
Hey, I think Sean Moreno would be a good person for that.
I think he's
certainly
not
with his .07 yards per carry isn't helping us much out on the field.
Well, may be a good candidate to play for someone else.
Yeah.
Is the position I'd like him to be playing right now.
Yeah, anybody but the Broncos. Enough of Sean Moreno. And enough of this show. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. Sunday night, come on in, tune in, and see if you won the Tom Jackson Primetime NFL, whatever, I don't know, program, fun stuff right here